Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show y'all how to make this style of stretchy chainmail bracelet. So let's go ahead and get started. So all of the rings that I'm using today are from the Ring Lord and Chainmail Joe. There will be links to everything down in the video description, as well as tools that I would recommend for this. So we're going to get right into it. I am using a 16 gauge 5/16 inch EPDM rubber ring, and so that's 1.6 millimeter in wire diameter, even though it's rubber, same concept, and then 7.9 millimeter for the inner diameter, and that's the rubber ring that we're using. And I am using a 16 gauge 3/16 inch ring, which is again the 1.6 millimeter and 4.8 inner diameter, if that's helpful to y'all. Now what inspired this is I ordered the wrong size, so and we made two different designs that we really enjoy this ring size for. And I'm using 3 of the different anodized aluminum purple tones that were available at the time of purchase. I highly recommend checking out theringlord.com. They have very good quality rings, and like, this isn't sponsored or anything. I've just been buying from the Ring Lord for as long as I've been making chainmail. I started off with one of their chainmail kits that was like, back in the day, it was like a bunch of different ring sizes and a bunch of different wire types. So bronze, copper, German silver, stainless steel, aluminum. It was a really nice like sampler, and that's what started this whole slippery slope. So I've been using their products for over a decade, and I'm very, very pleased continually over that time. And their anodized aluminum is just top notch anyways. And if you have any problems with your order, I've had really great experience with the Ring Lord customer service too. So even though I think I've only ever needed to use it like twice in this whole time. But anyhow, we're starting by coming through, and I'm just going to close a bunch of these ones. And whenever I close rings, I'm going to risk zooming in here for you guys. Whenever I close our rings, whether we make our own rings or get them from Chainmail Joe or get them from the Ring Lord, you can see the way that they were stacked together. If you can kind of visualize, this started as one long coil, and then it goes through and gets cut, and so the rings are going to be slightly open, not quite closed. Whether you want the ring to be open or closed, you're going to have to fiddle with it. So whenever I close, I want to bring the ends close together, but you see there's still that gap there, and that's from where the saw cut the ring. And so I like to wiggle a little forward and back, pushing the noses of my pliers kind of towards each other, and that wiggle closes that gap. But you can see it's still pretty nice and round. And whenever we open our rings, I like to open it like this, where it goes like just like that. In this way, we'll be able to actually fit the ring through, whatever we need to weave it on. And whenever we're closing our rings, y'all, that's kind of all there is to chainmail. Once you've learned the different weaves, that's just the pattern that you've learned, but the opening and the closing of your rings is consistent across all of the different projects. So I really enjoy trying to do just as best as I can on my closures, and that way it makes, our chainmail just as nice and comfortable to wear as what we can get it to be. Now, sometimes you may notice in your rings, whenever you're opening and closing with the anodizing, that a little bit, if it'll focus, do you see that little silvery spot right there? I don't get that on all ring sizes. It happens sometimes on some of them. So I don't know if that's something that I'm doing wrong, or if it's something with the anodizing or what. But I do find that the less I move the ring, the less I get that effect. But if you don't want to worry about that, then I would recommend not using the anodized aluminum possibly, or contacting the Ring Lord to see if there's anything that can be done. I'm not super duper worried about it, but yeah, just being consistent about our openings and our closings. Now we're going to be doing, to make today's bracelet, I'm going to make 15 segments and join them together. So each of the segment is composed of 2 of our metal rings and 2 of our rubber rings, and I like to insert both of the rubber through at a time, and so I just get it in my hand and kind of pinch it down like this so that I can thread it through our closed anodized aluminum rings. And I'm just gonna say, I think this design would be beautiful done with square cut rings. And you could get those in the anodized or in stainless steel, are my favorites to work with. And so there's that. And there's the little kind of blemish that happens from opening and closing. So it's something to keep in mind. And again, if you want to avoid that, just I'd recommend going with something other than anodized aluminum, because I've had that happen to me across brands, across, like, sometimes that's just how it be. But I'm just threading on 2 rings onto 2 rubber, and I'm going to do this for all 15 of our units or our segments, and then to join them together I'm going to have 15 open. So however you're doing your color scheme, or if you're using all the same ring color, it doesn't matter. We'll do 45 closed and 15 open. Also, just some shameless self-promotion, this same bracelet can be made with our lampwork glass beads. Now, depending on what size of bead you get and what size bead hole, we do sell custom lampwork glass beads on our website, backtoearthcreations.com. We have some that are already made, and we have all sorts of options to where you can order your own. But here you can see, by threading through the large hole of the bead, the sizing isn't exactly ideal. But I also am kind of picked over right now. So I would go personally with a smaller bead that has a larger bead hole. But you could still get in there and hook it together with like a jump ring. And if you wanted to do a bead like this, let me see, I have some other rings over here. So if I wanted to do a bead, I would probably start by just having the a metal ring closed onto our rubber ring. That way we don't have to worry about it sliding off the end. But this way we can then start weaving things together, and we don't have to worry about it pulling out whenever we just link through. But yeah, so if you can kind of picture, I would use a thicker gauge ring for this too, but a whole stretchy bracelet made with lampwork glass beads, and like you could do little chainmail units and stuff. But I think this is just such a fun way to be able to incorporate a bead without having to do any sort of wire wrapping. So I have made all of the little units, the little segments of 2 rubber rings threaded through 2 closed metal, and you can use whatever color scheme, do whatever color repetitions, the technique remains the same. So I'm going to hook through one side like this. Whoop, one of them rolled away on me, that's okay. And I just want to get everything scooched over so I can fit my pliers onto my ring, and then we'll close it just like so. And then I'm going to move on to the next metal tone in our sequence. Now, with this ring size, I had tried doubling up on the connectors, and it just made it a little too tight to where it was like a little zigzaggy, which that may be what something that you enjoy. I didn't much care for it, so I'm weaving mine like this. But the experimentation keeps crafting spicy, so just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try it and see for yourself. If I were to double up, because I did kind of like that look, and I was interested in something that was like, you know, continuous, to where it didn't look like, oh, this one's clearly this way and this one's clearly this way. I think I may have used, I think I would recommend going with an 18 gauge 3/16 as opposed to the 16 gauge wire. And then just grabbing up another ring. And y'all, this bracelet comes together so quick and so easy. And I think there are so many different variations that you could try out, again, with using large hold beads or like pony beads, or, you know, just, I mean, anything really. You might be able to thread through charms. So let me know what you would do with this weave down in the comments. And I'm going to get the whole thing woven just so we can, you know, sometimes weird stuff happens and it's like, oh, I didn't anticipate that. And it's a wonderful learning opportunity. And sometimes it's just weaving chainmail and chit-chatting, but that's okay. Ooh, and I don't want to, if you pull your rings off, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can just thread them back on. And then coming through here. Now the Ring Lord does sell some different colors of the EPDM rubber rings. I like the black just because it's very sharp and crisp looking, and I think it makes the colors pop on it. And I think it's a little bit more affordable too, than the other colors, but you'd have to check me on that. Don't quote me. And so just picking that up, bringing our ring through and closing it. And with this 16 gauge, well, once we get this woven, I'll show you how stretchy it is. It's a very strong ring size. Just 6 more to go, and I think I am going to utilize the magic of editing just to speed things along. So here we are now on our last segment, getting that added on. And now we're going to join the ends, and I like to just make sure that I don't have any twists. This is what it would look like twisted. I want to be able to see all of our O's of the rings, and then I'll just bring it around and hook through that end and then close it. Now this is a nice, on me it's a baggy bracelet. You could make it shorter. I find that that can not interfere, but get tricky to balance with different color patterns. So that's a creative challenge for you to tackle when you get there on your project. Sometimes I'll do, like this one's only 14 segments long, and you can see we added a little segment of black rings in with the rainbow gradient just to make it be like a good length, because otherwise it'd be too short. But that gives us rings that we could remove if we're shortening this down in the booth as well. So, and I think it's fun to be able to make different sizes and things and color schemes, and it really does add, the anodized aluminum adds such a nice bright pop of color. There's also, as an alternative to the anodized aluminum, enameled copper is a really great option for adding a pop of color to your chainmail work as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please do leave them down below. I love hearing from y'all. And if you have any requests for future tutorials, leave those down below as well. And links to everything should be in the video description. If you are interested in purchasing any of our unique tie-dyes, handmade jewelry, craft-along kits, or anything like that, please check us out at backtoearthcreations.com, where we also have a free newsletter that you can sign up for to get exclusive coupons and to be among the first to know whenever we have new YouTube tutorials, or we have a new live stream, or whatever we have going on here. You'll be among the first to know. So that's all the good stuff. Links to everything are down in the video description. I'll see y'all next time, and until then, happy crafting. Mwah. Bye.